Hey everybody, welcome back to Matthew's Guyanese Cooking. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing this delicious recipe for my lamb biryani. Now you guys have requested more biryani recipes with different types of meats, so I'm delivering today. Of course, being that the lamb is a tougher meat, it can be replaced with things like goat, it can also be replaced with beef, and if you want to see a chicken version for this recipe, I have it on my channel already. It'll be linked in the description box down below this video. And very soon I will be having a vegetarian recipe uploaded on my channel, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you guys keep on watching because throughout the video I'm going to be sharing all of my tips and tricks on how to get the most tender lamb or meat in your biryani and to have that rice be nice and loose and fluffy in the end. So the first step when making this lamb biryani is to work on the rice. Whenever you're making rice for biryani, you have to par cook that rice, so this way when you bake it later on, the dish will fully cook properly. So in some boiling water, I'm going to go in with some cumin seeds, also known as jeera. I'm also going to season it with some salt very well, so this way the rice is flavorful. And I'm going to be going in with some oil. You could also use ghee. And the reason is so this way it'll keep the rice loose and it'll keep it fluffy. Once you season that water really well, you're going to go in with your washed basmati rice. I'm using parboiled basmati rice today, and this is going to take exactly 10 minutes to cook halfway, which is exactly what I want. Now, if you didn't have parboiled basmati rice and you wanted to use regular basmati rice, you can use that, but it'll only take 5 minutes to cook halfway. So make sure you know the difference in what type of rice you're using, and go ahead and cook it halfway. And at that point, once it's done cooking halfway, I'm going to strain it and leave it in my colander to sit there and cool just a little bit while I work on everything else. While my rice is boiling, I'm going to season my lamb just a little bit, so this way while it's cooking, it has some time to soak up some of these flavors. So onto my lamb meat that I've already washed and patted dry, I'm going in with some salt, some black pepper. I'm also going to be sprinkling in some turmeric, and turmeric is also known to take away the rankness of any meat when you're steaming it or cooking it, so that's sort of the reason why I put it on here. And I'm going to be going on with some garlic powder. Of course, if you wanted to do other stuff with this, like add in green seasonings or other fresh seasonings, you can do that as well. Once you season up your lamb really well, you can set it aside because there's one more step to work on before we can cook the actual lamb. So in a heavy bottom pot, I'm going to go in with a good amount of oil. You can use olive oil, you can use canola oil, you can even use ghee if you wish. And I'm going to go in with one large onion that I've sliced up very well. Now what I'm going to do here is basically brown these onions until they have some nice golden dark brown edges and until they're somewhat crispy. This right here is the key to making an authentic biryani. The reason being is because it adds such a unique sweetness, a little bit of a caramelized flavor, and honestly it just takes it up a notch. And after about 5 to 10 minutes on a medium to medium low heat, your onions should look nice and brown just like this. If you want to make them darker, feel free to do so, and if you want to make them even lighter than this, you can do that as well. But once you're done browning your onions really well, you're going to take them out of the pot, you're going to drain off the excess oil, and you're going to leave them sitting on a plate or a bowl until we are ready for them later. And in that same heavy bottom pot that we had browned our onions in, we are going to go straight in with our pieces of lamb. What we're doing now is we're going to brown these pieces of lamb until they are golden brown on both sides. And I'm doing this on a medium to medium high heat, and it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes for them to brown really well. And you guys are going to see that once you're using a proper heavy bottom pot, that lamb or whatever meat that you're using is going to really get nice and browned up very well. So at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a few pieces of sliced ginger as well as a piece of a cinnamon stick, and I'm going to cover this and allow it to steam with its own juices, allow those juices to release from the lamb, and then allow those juices to evaporate. As you guys can see, it's been about 15 minutes and now the pot is dry. All of that at the bottom is some oil and fat from the lamb that is rendered off, and now that is flavor. The reason why you want to add in that ginger and that piece of a cinnamon stick is to take away any rankness or freshness that the meat may have, and by covering the pot and allowing it to steam with its juices and then evaporate, you're going to allow that lamb to get very nice and tender later on. And once you've removed all of the lamb from the pot, it is time to add in some more ingredients so we could pick up all of that flavor from the bottom of the pot. I'm going in with some sliced tomatoes. You could also chop your tomatoes. And I'm going to be going in with some homemade green seasoning. This green seasoning is just a little bit different from my normal, but it does have the same main ingredients. It has some garlic, some thick leaf thyme, a little bit of culantro, and it also has some hot pepper in it. All you're going to do is stir the green seasoning and tomatoes really well and allow it to cook down until the tomatoes have melted away and until all of those bits at the bottom of the pot are picked up. And after about 5 to 6 minutes, you should see that those tomatoes have cooked down really well. All of the oil that was in there has been released back from the mixture. and it is nice and darkened in color, and the bits from the bottom of the pot are picked up. At this point, we're going to go in with our biryani masala, but after about 4 to 5 minutes of that masala cooking very well with all of those ingredients, you're going to see that it starts to catch or stick at the bottom of the pan just a little bit, and the oil starts to release back from the spice mixture. That's your indication that it is cooked out properly. At this point, we're going to be going in with some yogurt. Now you want to make sure that you're using plain yogurt, no flavors, and you're just going to stir that around and cook it until that yogurt melts a little bit. So my yogurt has melted away into the spice mixture, and at this point we're going to go in with some water. You want to go in with water so this way you can create that curry or create the gravy that the meat and the rice is going to cook in later. Once you add in your water and everything comes up to a rolling boil, you're going to go in with all of those pieces of lamb that you had steamed and browned off earlier. And once you add in all of the lamb pieces, you're going to cover this and you're going to allow it to cook very well until the lamb pieces are nice and tender. Now this is what my mixture looks like after exactly 20 minutes of cooking. As you guys can see, those lamb pieces have cooked down really well. They are nice and tender at this point, and the gravy has thickened up beautifully. Now I will mention that if this mixture dries up too much, you're going to want to go in with just a little bit more water. I will leave my measurement for the water that I added in the description box below with the rest of the ingredients and measurements, but if you see that it's too dry, you have to add in more, and the reason being is because that rice actually needs a little bit of moisture to finish cooking while it's in the oven. Now once you feel that the lamb meat is nice and tender, it could take longer than 20 minutes for you guys, it might even take less time. You're going to go ahead and layer in your veggies and your rice. So on top of the lamb and the gravy, I'm going in with some sliced carrots or julienne carrots, and I'm also going to be going on with a few pieces of sliced bell peppers. And at this point, I'm going to go in with half of that rice mixture. So this is the rice that we had cooked halfway or parboiled a while ago in the beginning of the video. And once you go in with half of that rice, you're going to sprinkle on half of those onions that we had browned earlier as well. What we're doing here is we're layering all of the different ingredients in this dish. Once you go in with those onions, you're also going to add in the rest of your rice and you're going to spread it out evenly. And then we're going to finish off the top with some more sliced bell peppers as well as the rest of those fried onions that we had done earlier. Now you would see that in some Indian restaurants or in India, they will actually put a little bit of food coloring on top of the rice just for decoration purposes. Now my family and I are not too much of a fan of food colorings, so what we like to do is just sprinkle on a little bit of turmeric or dye so this way it can have a little yellow color. And you want to sprinkle the top with some olive oil or any type of oil that you wish, just to keep it nice and moist. And once you cover it, you're going to pop it into your oven at 400 degrees and you're going to leave it there for about 20 to 25 minutes. And at that point, your rice should be perfectly cooked and all of the ingredients would have melded together. And this right here is what my biryani looks like after exactly 20 to 25 minutes of cooking in my oven at 400 degrees. As you guys can see, the rice is still perfectly loose. It looks beautiful. All of that gravy has actually soaked into the rice and the veggies, and it is ready to serve. Now what you can do is you could serve it right out of the pot, or you could also go ahead and put it on a nice big platter and everybody can just help themselves. This right here is the perfect family meal or self-serve meal because everybody can just go in, grab a nice spoonful of meat and rice, and it is absolutely delicious. I just want to thank you all for making it to the end of this video with me and watching along as I prepared this delicious lamb biryani. If you guys want to see more delicious recipes and if you have any requests, make sure that you leave some comments down below for me. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, and of course I'll see you guys again very soon with my next video. Bye everyone!